Hey, thanks for dropping in. Ever since Jollibee, the giant Filipino fast food chain, expanded into North America, I've noticed an explosion of recipes for Filipino spaghetti, one of their signature dishes. Being of Filipino descent, I figure I should probably get my 2 cents in and try to recreate the spaghetti of my childhood. So that's what we're doing. Coming up next. Spaghetti we're making today is a mishmash of the ones my Lola, or grandmother, made, as well as the one from my mom. Unfortunately, neither woman ever wrote down her recipes, so we're going to be doing this mainly from memory. Fortunately, it's not a very complicated dish, and I do still have pretty vivid memories of my mother cooking this on a stove, even though those memories are now decades old. That should do it for the prep. Let's get to the cooking. We're going to start by browning our ground beef. Okay, that wasn't the most graceful way to add meat to a pan. Now, normally, if I was making traditional spaghetti, I'd start by frying the sofrito first. But we're staying old school today, so it's the beef. Also, it's not just any beef, it's regular ground beef. Not lean, not extra lean, regular. Spaghetti was not a fancy meal in my house, so my family saw no reason to splurge on pricier meat, at least not until my parents started having health issues. This beef is going to give off a ton of moisture in the form of water and grease, so we're going to have to spoon it out of the pan pretty regularly so that the meat can brown and not boil or steam. Our meat's browning nicely. It's not done yet, but it's cooked enough we can add our onion and garlic. We'll give those aromatics a few minutes to sweat. Alright, it's time to add our wet ingredients. We're going to start with a small can of tomato paste. Again, if this was my spaghetti, I'd let that paste cook down for a few minutes to deepen in flavor. However, we're staying true to Mom and Lola, so we're going to go in pretty much right away with our can of tomato sauce. Note that this is tomato sauce and not tomato puree or passata, so this is going to have some seasoning and salt in it already. Now we go in with the most Filipino of ingredients, banana ketchup. And yes, this is really ketchup made from bananas. And just like regular ketchup, it can be a total pain to get out of the bottle. In fact, it might be worse. I probably should have done this ahead of time. Does it taste like regular tomato ketchup? Hell no, not really. It's both sweeter and fruitier. It definitely has its own distinct flavor. And it's an absolutely vital ingredient in this recipe. Having said that, on those occasions when we didn't have banana ketchup in the house, because either we ran out and didn't realize, or we forgot to buy a bottle, I do remember my mom adding extra sugar to make up for it. That should be enough. Speaking of sugar, we're going to add some. Just a spoonful for now. Filipino spaghetti is definitely on the sweeter side, but we also don't want to go completely overboard and turn this into some sort of freaky dessert. And of course, we can't forget salt and pepper. Finally, we're going to dump in a can of cocktail weenies, or more correctly, Vienna sausages. Most Filipino spaghetti recipes I've seen call for hot dogs, but my family used these, and honestly, I kind of like them better. One time I remember my Lola used longanisa instead. I don't actually remember what it tasted like, but I love longanisa, so I'm sure it was fantastic. We're going to add a bit of water to thin this sauce out. Modern recipes often call for beef stock, but stock was not an ingredient in my house growing up. Again, we're sticking to the old school version. We're not fancying this up in any way, so we're sticking with water. And we'll let this simmer for about 15 minutes. That'd be a good time to boil some noodles. The sauce is ready. Let's give this a taste and check the seasoning. It's a little too tomatoey. We might have gone a little overboard with the tomato paste. We can probably half it. I'll fix that when putting the recipe in the description. It also needs a bit more salt. And pepper. And the sweetness can be bumped up a bit, so a little more sugar. My family always ate this with a sauce simply ladled on and not mixed through a giant pile of noodles, which I believe is pretty common, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll see you at the table. And here it is, my family's version of Filipino spaghetti. To finish this, we'll sprinkle on a little grated cheddar. Yes, cheddar. Better yet, if we had it, some queso de bola, which is the Filipino version of Edam cheese. Sometimes, if we were feeling super fancy, we'd use Kraft pre-grated Parmesan. Alright, that should do it. Let's do the flyby. Thanks for joining me on this trip down memory lane. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment. If you do end up making this dish, especially if you've never had it before, please leave me a note and let me know what you think. And if you're Filipino, let me know how it differs from your family's recipe. Thanks again, and see you next time. Wow, this takes me back to my childhood.